Hi, I'm Neto.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
And we are both from the Actions on Google Developer Relations team. And we are here today to introduce you a new series. We are very excited about this series, the Behind the Actions, right? So what is this about, Jessica?
Yeah, so the Behind the Actions is all about deep dives into building for Actions on Google and Google Assistant. And so today we're actually going to be starting with the basics. And we're going to be building kind of like our first action.
Cool. So we're going to go through since the understanding where they should start, right? And until we are actually testing a real device.
Yeah, on a home, which will be super
nice.
fun.
Yeah, this is very good. This is cool. And like I said, this is a new series we are starting. If you have any comment, feedback, please let the comments below. And also follow us on Twitter, right? We have the Actions on Google handle that we can, in general, we post about new blog posts, events that we are going, announcements.
Other videos like these.
Other videos like this. So yes, we are waiting for your feedback and let's start building.
So what are we building first of all?
Yeah, the idea today is more, for example, in this case, going to build like the lucky number calculator. What do you think about?
Okay.
You can tell me your favorite color, and based on that, we calculate your number.
Okay, so the action is going to, I'm assuming, greet me.
Yes.
And ask me what my favorite color is.
Yes.
And then me as a user, I tell you my favorite color is purple.
Yes, and then based on this color, we're gonna make some AI machine learning. No, I'm kidding. It's just counting the number of letters in the word and then calculate something. But before we jump into this code, there are some three elements we must understand, right, when you are developing for the Google Assistant. I think the first one would be like the Google Assistant itself.
Yeah.
We can say is that the platform. Like, for example, it's where your action gonna live. So when you try to talk with your Google Assistant, your action will be downloaded, and then you'll be able to interact with the Google Assistant, the device with the Google Assistant built in, right?
Yeah, what's even like, you don't even have to download it. It's already available once it's out in production. And so Google Assistant's all about that conversation users could have with Google, right? And so you could be able to talk to it and be able to invoke our action that we're building,
actions,
right?
Exactly. And there's several devices that have Google built in, right? So I remember some very cool like headphones, and new headphones can
Those
wear
are so cool.
it. Yeah, so have TVs already working on
Yeah.
Google Assistant, so you don't need to memorize the number of the channel. So just say, hey, turn on the sports and say you can watch this, something like that. But also have some other formats, right, Jessica?
Yeah. Laptops.
Home, of course.
mini.
And we have the Smart Displays recently announced.
those are
They are
gorgeous.
great. Yeah, we have in the kitchen. I like to play with my kids there because they can say some stories and they can watch there. It's very cool to make calls, for example.
Yeah.
So it's very nice, very nice.
Definitely.
And then, as a developer, we can use this platform, right? And extend this platform to our own apps.
And in this world, apps, we call them actions. And so we're going to be using the term actions. And that is it's similar to an app on any other platform. I know you have an Android background, so I really love this analogy.
Yeah, this I used to talk about this when I'm on presentations, is because if you think, sometimes it's hard to not say the abstraction, something like that, but if you take the Android world, so we have the Android as a platform, it's like we have the Google Assistant. So we have all the applications there. Then if you have each device that runs an Android, can be like your phone, your tablet, your car, for example, running Android Auto. But also you have the apps that each developer develops to deliver to their users. That's our actions.
Yeah.
So I like to think on that way, to imagine like we are building apps for the Google Assistant that we call actions for the Google Assistant.
I love that analogy. That's so great because that really does identify kind of how they're kind of equivalent. But the biggest difference is that you don't have to download.
No, you
actions.
just ask for it, you start talking, and the action will be totally available right now. So you just talk with your assistant. So this is one thing I really like about Google Assistant, that you don't need to install or go and search, and you just ask.
Exactly. And so what it sounds like is what we're going to be doing is going to be making a project on Actions on Google, which is the platform for Google Assistant.
Exactly. Cool. So where should I start?
Yeah, so we should start with the console, which is the console.actions.google.com. Start there and build a project there.
And I think it's pretty straightforward, right? Just remember console actions, and it's great. And it will be your home from now on. If you're becoming a action developer, AUG Devs, our hashtag on Twitter, by the way, you can just log into the Actions console and start the project. Jessica will show us. Jessica, she has a video on the channel, so if you want to know more about the console, she recorded a gorgeous video about how to use the console. Then you can see much more details on that video. But
Definitely. Yeah, so we're going to start off here. Right now we have no projects.
Okay.
And so what we'll do is we'll add a project here. And let's call this project Lucky Calculator.
Great.
Right?
Sounds good.
And when it comes to calculator,
Okay.
and I'm going to click Create Project. And this is just a project ID. This is not actually the name of the action, right?
Good point, yes. Because it's not the way that you will interact with your action. So you don't need to start overthink right now. Oh, how's the name? This just
I know, having to name something immediately is hard.
And even the domain's not available, so I'm kidding. So, but okay, now we have this screen. So we have a bunch of categories here. So what can I do with a bunch of these things?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So this is where you could just use a category to label your action. But seeing that we're making a custom action that's not really going to, it doesn't fit into one of these categories neatly, we're actually going to make it using the conversation.
Okay.
So we'll click on that, and that will take us into the actual home page of the console, which is great.
And here is the setup. So the quick setup that says that decide how your action is invoked. So
let's click on that.
Exactly what Jessica was talking about. Don't need to preoccupy before on the name of the ID project, something like that. And here is the screen where we actually add the name, how our action will be invoked, right? So for example, we can use this when you say, hey, Google, ask to, and then we must say the name of the action, right? But to choose these names, we have some policies, right?
Definitely, yeah. You can't have action names that are only one word. They need to be multi-word.
Okay.
They can't be of a brand that you don't own, and they can't be Google, so you can't build an action called Google.
Yeah. And of course, pay attention with sometimes we come with some cool names, startups, services, But unfortunately, if you try to say that name, it's actually pretty hard for the assistant to do all the natural language processing and understand what you're saying. So before you actually decide the name, try to hear how the assistant is expecting to hear from you when invoking the action.
Totally, even how your users are going to say it, because sometimes some words could be real tongue twisters, just like that sentence.
Yeah, and remember, there's a lot of non-native English speakers.
Yeah.
And maybe some challenge words should be avoided, I think. So
for this action, I'm thinking we should call it like Lucky Number Calculator.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. Lucky Number Calculator. And we can hear also how they're expecting, right?
Yeah, so let's click here.
Lucky Number Calculator.
Okay, sounds good.
That sounds good, yeah.
Then remember to save. Always save, please. And now this saving our agent. It's good. We are good to go. Now, this is what defines the base for our action. So we have the name of our action. Now we need to start creating our action.
Yeah, totally. We need like the functionality of it.
Yes.
So when it comes to what happens on the hood, the user is going to say, hey, Google, talk to Lucky Number Calculator, right? The device picks it up, sends it to a Google Assistant. It figures out it's going to hit our code.
Yes.
And then after that, we have to give it a response.
Exactly.
Right? And then once the user gives us something back, we have to figure out what they want.
Exactly.
Right? And that would be really hard, because imagine someone saying like, I love purple, or my favorite color is pink. There's so many different ways of saying that. How do you process that without going crazy?
This will have a very nice tool called Dialogflow that will be very tightly integrated with all the actions on Google Console. So from here, we'll be able, for example, to start our action, creating our first action, and it will head us to the Dialogflow console. And when we hit there, we're going to explain more about the difference between the two consoles and how we're going to work on both two.
Okay, so then I'm going to click on Actions.
Exactly.
And then it takes us here. And then...
Yeah.
And so this is all the functionality we want. So I'm going to click on Adding.
Oh, what is this?
right? And so this is where we have to define what is the type of intent or type of functionality we're going to provide, right?
Yeah, imagine intent as like intention. So the user has the intention to do something, to ask something to our action, and this is what we are talking about. We have some
There's some cool ones in here.
Yeah, like what does it mean? Because, for example, instead of have to train your agent to detect all the possible ways to say, for example, get fortune, something like that, we already have this pre-trained, this kind of action. So what we call built intents.
Yeah, and it lets Google know that particular intent is all about giving a fortune. So when it has to figure out which action to surface, it knows. You already have something there.
But in our case, we are building a custom one. So let's go with custom intent and hit build.
So let's click build. And it looks like it opened a new tab. And now I'm in a different world.
And this is Dialogflow, people. This is where now our natural language processing stuff will be much easier. Imagine if you have to implement this by yourself, like having to handle all the languages. For example, we handle more than 20 languages. So imagine you have to handle all the languages, do all the processing on the words and the phrases, and then identify what the user means by that, map all the crazy, right?
Too much.
Yeah, Dialogflow is a very cool tool. It's free. It's open to use for all the projects, so you can plug and use right away in your project. So it's very nice. And you're gonna see here, we'll type a few expressions. You're gonna some answers, and it will be great. Let's see.
Yeah, definitely. So it looks like Dialogflow gives us for free 2 intents already. So one's called the fallback intent, and the other one is the welcome intent.
Cool.
And so let's actually go and explore a little bit of the welcome intent first.
Okay.
Right. So in here, I'm going to click right in here, and that'll take us into the intent page. And we have a couple of things going on. We're going to skip over contacts because that's not being used. Yeah. And event, right here, it says welcome. So anytime that this agent in Dialogflow is invoked, that triggers this event. For Actions in Google, we don't really have to worry about that component just yet because that's when it first greets it.
Yeah, and just to make clear why this is here, see if Google actually Google is not using. Because you can use Dialogflow to build agents for several different platforms, right? So you can go with many options, social networks, chat applications. So you can check this. You're gonna see when we start integrating with the Google Assistant, you'll see other links there. Then you could use the same agent, the same code to integrate with your other platforms if you want.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And so this one has already some training phrases that they give us for free. And so when it comes to training phrases, this is what we would be adding to give to Dialogflow to train to match whatever the user says to match with this intent. And so this is some training phrases like hello, hi, howdy, hi there.
Ways to start a conversation, right?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we're going to scroll down. And so down here.
Responses. What is this?
Yeah. So it looks like this is what our action is going to give back to the user.
Nice.
So here, let's change this to make it customized.
Yes,
right?
because when someone asks talk to the lucky number calculator, we are expecting to, for example, receive some instruction, right? So, okay, what should I do next?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we can start saying what the user can do, right?
Yeah, so I think we should still keep the hi.
It's good.
So hi.
We have a polite action here.
Hi, what is your favorite color?
Yeah, sounds good.
So what's really nice is if we keep as multiple, then Dialogflow will be able to randomly choose one from this. So I'm going to just copy paste this part.
Okay. Control C.
Thank you.
It's not a Mac.
Okay, so I'm going to replace all of these.
Okay.
That way.
Nice.
We have just that variety of greetings. So then it doesn't feel robotic. Because imagine every time you see me, I'm always like, hello, Neto. And next time, hello, Neto. Like, that would be weird.
You know, some people do this. It's creepy, but okay. Okay. Maybe they are robots.
Maybe. Well, that's the brain is very mechanical in that sense. If it works, then go for it. We want to have something that's a little more loose.
Okay, yes. I like it. Remember to save again.
And then we save.
Okay.
Perfect.
Now we can test this on the device.
You want to test in the device or you want to test this in the simulator first?
Let's go to the simulator. Good idea.
Right?
Let's show the simulator. I like
it. So because I would love to show from here, how do we go to the simulator and be able to show that connection? So we're going to go on the left-hand side and hit integration. And under integration, there will be the page that Netha was mentioning of
Yeah.
all the different integrations. But the best one is Google Assistant.
Oh, yes.
So we're going to click on that. We're going to scroll down, and then we're going to enable the auto preview changes. That way, if there's any changes on your dialog flow, it automatically gets populated on your actions on Google.
Yes.
And click test.
Oh, what's happening?
That's because I didn't click it.
Yeah, yes. It's open another tab. Oh my God. No, it's because now we are going to the simulator. So this is very cool.
The simulator of actions on Google. So
Yeah. Good point. If you want, for example, if you are building for other platforms, you want to test integration, Dialogflow also has a tool for you to test, save things to the Dialogflow. But here is specifically about the actions on Google, the Google Assistant.
Yes.
And there's some nice things some cool stuff on the screen, right?
oh my gosh, yes. The simulator is, I think, the best tool to be able to test out your action just to see if it's what you're coding and what you're building is really happening. And so in here, we're in the simulator. On kind of this main page is going to be the log of the conversation. And on the right will be what is displayed to the user if it has some visual elements to it.
Okay, and we can, for example, you see here on surface, you can change the surface to see how your action is performing on phone or speaker or enable device like a screen-enabled device like smart displays.
Exactly.
It also can change language if you are trying multi-language. Yeah, for example, Spanish or Brazilian Portuguese.
All of them.
Yeah, so we have a lot of them. And even if you are trying, for example, some service that you need location, you could mock or change the location. Right now, you're Googleplex, where you are. But you could change this location if you want. And then you have a bunch of tabs. We won't go through all this right now. I think it's not necessary in this video. We already learning a lot of things today. But you can explore this later and see, for example, how the request is going and how the response is coming from the assistant. You can see all the JSON communication because the assistant, all the communication between the assistant and Dialogflow, it's all based on JSON. Yep. So you could see what's going on, and if you have any errors, we have errors and debug.
Oh yeah, that's something I really enjoy. Whenever there is an error, it automatically takes you to that tab and it tells you the error name. And that's usually when I'm like, hello there, old friend. I see you again. Okay, good. So can we test this one out?
Yes.
Let's see if this works.
You can type your talk or click.
I'm a clicker.
Okay.
So I'm going to click on it.
Yeah.
All right, getting the test version of Lucky Number Calculator.
Greetings. What is your favorite color?
Nice.
Wow, the point is it's working. Yeah, the demo, right? So, well, what's working? What's going on here is how you saw it's going to the assistant asking for, hey, do you have some action called Lucky Number Calculator? And the assistant say, yeah, actually I have. And it's testing, it's in your account. Because I don't know if you realize, but we coded here. And Jessica didn't did any kind of deploy or something like send to that. When you do the test thing, it's already enabled in all devices. So if you have anything configured with the Google Assistant, you're already working there. So even you have a same team sharing the same account or different accounts, will be very fast, very quickly enabled to the other people to test.
Yeah, it's accessible, which is really nice. There's also other ways that you could do that, and we'll talk about that when it comes to releasing and how do you actually test in a larger scale too.
Yeah. So excuse me. So
sure, yeah. Now we're in that transition phase where our action has given a question to the user. We said hi, it gave you a question, and now we have to allow the user to respond back.
Yes.
With their favorite color, and then we have to build the functionality to capture that. And then do our machine learning, really great, fun stuff.
I'm
all his analysis, and then return back.
You're gonna see it's like 100 lines of code. Prepare yourself, brace yourselves. I'm kidding.
So we have to build that turn of conversation.
Yes.
User says their favorite color, and we're responding with a lucky number.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we are here. I clicked on cancel to stop the emulator. I go back to the other tab where we have the Dialogflow. I can close the test. And then I'll go back to intents. So again, you see the full welcome. We can now create a new intent. So this new intent is what we are building exactly. So in this case, it's our lucky number calculator, right? So let's call it that lucky number. It's good?
Sure.
Just lucky number, because then we will return the lucky number, right? Context, we are not talking this. It's a much more deeper topic. In the future, we'll have for sure episode about this. Just have in mind is the way you can remember what's going on in the conversation. So you can keep like a person. You can keep your context, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing. And events already talked about. So let's add the training phrases. And this point, remember, the action already greeted the user saying, what's your favorite color? So now, how would you answer this question?
I think I would answer by saying something like, my favorite color is purple.
My favorite color is purple, right? This way? It's good?
yeah.
So what happened? There's something here. Oh, yellow, you see here highlighted. What happened here is our natural language processing tool, that's Dialogflow, identified that purple is a color and then is mapping this as an entity.
Yeah.
Because it's something on the real world that probably, based on this phrase, is something that the user wants to communicate your action.
Yeah, definitely. Dialogflow is smart enough and is aware of things like colors, time, not just time of the day, but then also time in regards to days.
Cities, country,
So many things.
currencies. There's a lot. In our documentation page, you have a specific, on Dialogflow documentation, there's a specific page with all the system, we call system entities in this case. You could create your own. For example, if you have a unicorn color, you have something like that. You could go,
It's great.
yeah, my daughter would love this color. Then you can go to entities here and create a new entity like custom color or Netos color or something like that.
Yeah.
You can add your colors there. But in this case, let's work only the well-known colors. Let's say that, right?
Yeah, so we should provide just more than one training phrase because I don't think a machine learning model is happy with one.
I think not enough. In general, for example, you said my favorite color is purple, but since they asked what's your favorite color, I would say just orange, for example.
Oh, okay, yeah, just respond back. See, and this is what I like. There's so many different varieties that you
Yes.
could just provide Dialogflow a handful and it figures out the rest of the diversity of that phrase.
Yeah, this is the point. If you have, for example, imagine you are building a service for your custom service. Let's say that. And you have a bunch of ways that people make questions to your call center. And you have these questions already collected on a spreadsheet, something like that. You can also import this from this spreadsheet from other sources and put here as a training. But take care, don't put also too much questions because then what could happen is all the process get confused by the amount of question you are like overloading this and then gets confused with another questions from another intent.
Or another
for
intent,
example.
exactly.
So you need to be very clear on delimiting the limit between one intent and another. But in our case, right, I think orange one or say my favorite color is purple, orange, I like blue. What else? Is green, something like that. So I think we have a good variety,
Oh,
right?
totally. Especially for this demo, I think we're good here. I believe we recommend doing about 10 to 15 training phrases for a production level action.
Okay, so right now we have a very straightforward training phrases, right? But now I can respond to the user about something, right?
Yeah.
So I can say, I want to make sure that it's understanding my question, my answer, right? I can go here at the response, for example, and I can create just a dummy answer just to make sure that this is working.
Yeah.
And then I say, yeah, let's imagine we have here a polite action, say yes, or nice. I want to refer to the same color.
The color that the user said.
How can I do this? If you go here, you'll see when you click on this part, there's a parameter name. So this color that user said is mapped to a parameter.
Yes, and so we could use that variable or that parameter
Yes.
in this response.
So
now.
I would say here, color, like color. So it's like this action is responding like I nice and the color for whatever you say to it.
So this is not your machine learning part.
No,
right? This
it's
is
a-
not your fancy map. This
it's
is just for testing.
Yeah, just for testing, exactly.
Perfect.
You got it. It's just like, let's warm up. So save, remember to
Always.
save, lucky number. And again, integration. And then for example, we can go just without hitting this, but there's sometimes some delay between the propagation of the new version. So for faster here, let's just export the lucky number intent here, and then test again. You'll see another simulator going up, and then we can close the previous one. No problem. And then let's try again, but this time I'm gonna answer when the action asks me about my favorite color. So I'm gonna use the same again.
Sure, getting the test version of Lucky Number Calculator.
Hi, what is your favorite color?
I'm gonna say I like. Let's use a color that's not on my list. Pink. It's color of fashion. Hey,
Nice. I like pink.
you see?
Nice. Okay, so we confirmed.
So intelligent. I like so much. No, I'm kidding. So what we're gonna have here? Okay, can hit cancel. So just end the session, right? But it's not so useful, right?
No, we want something dynamic. But we at least know that our intent that we filled out works and that the training phrases was triggered using a different word, which is great. So now what we want to do is grab that color and in our back end.
Oh, backend, no, yes.
Yeah, do all the fun stuff that you promised me.
Nice. Okay, I had to show my abilities on machine learning and everything else. So again, close here this case and go back to your intent. Click again on our case lucky number, and you'll see here all the things we already entered. At the end of the page, as you scroll down, you'll see fulfillment, right?
What is fulfillment?
Fulfillment's the way that we actually gonna link the Dialogflow to our code, to the webhook. Because this is the way that we offer to connect your backend to the Google and Dialogflow server. Because how we could know how to send your request instead of, for example, we don't like you to keep like pulling to ask for something, then the easiest way is just call a webhook, like your URL that you're gonna give to us.
Yeah.
But in this case, so enable fulfillment here, and then we can enable webhook call for this intent.
Yeah, so our welcome one, we're not going to touch our backend because it's not needed. It's overhead we don't need.
Yeah.
So that one we'll leave as is. This one, when this gets hit, that goes and hits our code.
Exactly. We need that this action goes to the backend.
Nice.
There's another option here. We're not enabling right now. It's about the slot feeding. So you could enable this to if you need to check some parameters, other thing, but it's not the focus right now. So remember to save, right?
Always save. Always save.
And then okay, done. Look, there's some.
Something different.
What is this? When this got this green thing going on?
Yeah, it looks like that the agent is actually being trained. So it's grabbing all the training phrases and creating the
Training phrases.
Yes, it's grabbing the training phrases to make the model for the machine learning.
Yes.
And so it looks like it just created all that and then it finished.
Because it's not just not using like doing if this equal your phrase, it's actually creating more options. So this is what it's saying to us. A lot of you'll see a bunch of this communication going up sometimes on here. So and there's another option here on the left menu, fulfillment, right? So click
so
here.
this is the fulfillment in the regards of connecting our actual code to Dialogflow,
Yes.
right?
One option here is to use external webhook. So imagine you already have your own backend configured. You can use this. You can enter your URL here. Only requirement that it must be HTTPS, right? A secure
gotta
point.
be safe.
But there's no dangerous to put my basic authentication here, username, password.
You could totally do that, yeah.
Yeah, because this is SSL communication and this information will be stored in our servers. Nobody has access, okay? If you need something else like API key or something, you could go here and enter a key and a value. So imagine API key or a specific header that you want to use.
Yeah.
You can also use here. So no problem, you can use your own server. But we don't have a server, right?
Well, we don't need a server for this.
We don't need,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. So we could use something that Dialogflow already has built in, which is the inline editor.
This is great, right? So here I have my code right on this screen. I don't need to go and download SDK, create nothing. I can just type my code here. And this just an explanation. I'm kind of lazy people, so I'm gonna replace all this code with one magic command. But the point is, I'm gonna explain why. There's some, you see here, Dialogflow fulfillment. But we're gonna change this, right?
Yeah, we're gonna use our actions on Google Client Library instead.
Yeah, this client library is have been built by our team, and we take care. It's open source. It's on GitHub. You can take a look. You can open issues if you find something, or can talk with us if you have any problem.
Well, don't talk to us through that. Talk to us through Twitter.
Oh, of course. But then if you have any problem with the library, it's good because then this will help you wrapping all the functionality.
Oh my gosh, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, like you don't need to take care about the JSON format specifically. So you can go use the library. You're gonna see here. It's very useful. But if you're not a Node.js person, you can also use Java. So we have recently announced the Java client library and Java Kotlin, so you can use on Java and Kotlin environments. Yeah. And we are planning to roll out more tools and libraries, so stay tuned. But okay, so I'm gonna replace this code. Okay, yeah. I'm kind of lazy, you know.
The power of the internet.
No. Jessica.
That was me.
It was okay, but no problem. We have here.
There we go.
Let's do the magic.
Yep.
Yes. So
what's there?
what we have here is basically we are importing some things we might use. For example, the library has this dialog flow, it's the base object, so it's where all the functionalities, the features are. But also we have like base card or image. These are other classes, other objects that we might use to have a rich response, for example.
Exactly.
But we have also, I'm promising one more episode, we have something about this in the future.
We will.
Right now, let's use only the dialog flow here, right? Because we don't need the other one. And then these others, just about the function, right? So it's required by this because we are hosting these on a Firebase Cloud Functions, right?
Exactly, yeah. So under the hood, what's happening when we do hip deploy is it's going to spin up a Firebase Functions only project. It's going to create the project. It's going to upload our code, it's going to deploy it, and then it's going to connect the URL to Dialogflow and do all this magic. So we need to have that because that's how we use Firebase Functions.
Yeah, then here we're starting the Dialogflow app that we imported here before. Then here is the intent. So remember when we create the intent, lucky number there?
Yep.
I have to, here it's where I map that intent, that it's on the Dialogflow side, to in the webhook on my backend to say, hey, when the user say something this intent, this is the code that will answer your request.
Yeah, so when the user says a color, Dialogflow does the machine learning, matches it with the intent. That intent name is
Be
that
the same,
name.
yes.
So those match.
And here you can see the parameter. So remember when I check the parameter there with the color, use the same name here. So color. Yeah. And then here is my extremely advanced code.
Oh.
Yeah, so we get the length of the color and multiply
by 35.
35.
Is 35 a special number?
No, I can say that. This is my machine learning thing. Yeah, this is the
Top secret.
Top secret. Yes, I run after millions of lines of code, and then I came with this number.
Oh, so that's the answer. Okay, so then we grab the lucky number. We do your really cool.
And what is this? I'm returning the conversation.ask, right? So you have like your lucky number. This is when we calculate it. Imagine you have here your API call. You can read from database or whatever you want, and then you have conf.ask or conf.close, right? What is the difference?
Yeah, so conf.ask is where you could give the response a string where the conversation continues with the user. When you use conf.close and you still pass in the string, what happens is the conversation ends after that. So there's no more dialogue after that.
Exactly. In this case, we could use close to finish the conversation. I think let's change for close.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, because you ask the number, I set the color, ask the number, return, I think it's done. Yeah. You don't need. And then we're gonna hit deploy. And this last line, just remember, it will be there when you start doing your code. You can, like I said, replace all the top code, but this last line must be this way because this Dialogflow Firebase fulfillment is the name of the function that Dialogflow is expecting to hit in your backend, right? Exactly. So don't change this name, please.
Yeah, let's just delete that want to try again because we're ending the conversation.
Exactly.
Since we changed that, let's make it so that it really ends.
Okay, finish here. So is lucky number. And then I can hit deploy right now, right? And same is happening. What successfully provisioned, so it means that already sent to the cloud function, right? So create your project. But remember, right now it's like speeding up the deploy. It's like creating your instance, downloading the dependencies.
All the requirements.
Exactly. So in the first time, it's kind of not so fast. it take like 1 minute, maybe a few seconds.
Exactly.
But then will be the following executions will be much faster.
Oh, totally. Because you're not having to do all that structural and like the structure to just start it up.
Yeah.
So after that, it's just those minor changes.
Yeah, and just remember this: we don't have version control inside here. So if you change your code, you're not sure that your code is about what you change. Save this on a another editor, something like that.
Exactly, yeah.
You do your own version control because here when you change, it's updated in the Cloud Functions project. So if you change something and don't remember how you did, you lost.
Oh, no, totally. Yeah. You always want to use version control whenever you're developing. Because I know that you don't discover that you need to do that until it bites you in the tush.
Yes,
and you're just like,
exactly.
why did I do that?
Yes, exactly. In this case, we're gonna test on the device right now. I think we can unmute. So
Oh, yeah. I'll totally mean it.
yes. So
The mic's back on.
you see, now we can talk with her. So
But we do need to wait for it to deploy completely.
yeah, sure.
because-
We are waiting a little bit. And by the way, we are going in this episode. We're going to stop right after this. How can I say this goal that it's create the action and test. And on the next episode, we're going to see how we can take this action that we just developed and publish for everybody use, right? So we kind of have to wait a little bit more. So it's deployed. Yeah! Deploy then. So
It worked.
now we can use.
Yeah.
So I'm on integration again, just make sure that it's integrated.
Yeah, let's just test this out.
Remember, this name here, lucky number, must match the intent name here. So lucky number here is okay. Go again, integration, Google Assistant. It's there, lucky number, test. But this time, we won't use the simulator, right?
We don't have to because we have something else.
Oh, nice.
I'm so nervous.
Me too. The chances to get wrong,
I know.
to go wrong is big, right? Okay. Okay, Google. Talk to lucky number calculator.
Sure, here's the test version of Lucky Number Calculator.
Greetings. What is your favorite color?
My favorite color is brown.
Your lucky number is 175.
Oh, yeah! We are winner. We are the champion. So you see how it's easy. I didn't upload nothing. I didn't connect any cable to there. Just the power source is connected. So yeah, that's great, right? So it's ready to test, and you can test in your. This is something I really like about mobile device when I was developing for Android, and now that I develop for this is because you can see your code running and actually working right beside you.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, it's very nice. But yeah, so I think for this, I think we are good. So this is the way you can wrap up on doing your action. With this, you are able to make more changes. For example, can go back to Dialogflow, and then you can create more intents, more entities if you need, right? And keep testing. So I think it is, right?
Yeah.
So in the next episode, you're going to see how to publish this action and make it available for everybody. Yeah, so you can share with your mom, for your partner, with everybody, so you can test. And thanks for watching us. And please give us your feedback, what you're thinking about this format, what's your idea for our next episode. So what an idea we have.
Totally, yeah. Let us know in the comments below. Let us know what you're interested in, what you like the best. That way we could give you what you want, because that's why we're here.
Yes, exactly. So thanks for watching. See you next video.
Bye.